Yes, secret is out. I am a Sony shooter, or should I say that I shoot with Sony products. Um, if you're here, it's probably because you saw my reel on Instagram. Thanks for everybody who's checked it out. Talking about my horror story with my dearly departed Sony, which we'll get into in just a second. But first off, I want to thank everybody who's on the channel. I appreciate it if you guys would subscribe to the channel, of course, and then hit the notification so that every time I decide to upload a video, you'll be notified. That would be amazing. So what I'm here to talk today, and I'm going to be as brief as I can with the subject, and that is how I started shooting with Sony. I've been here as a Sony shooter with just over a year. So go back a little bit. My photographic journey started with Nikon. 2014, my media company, HBCU Game Day. Go check us out. Make sure you follow us on YouTube and all that great stuff if you haven't already. You know, I needed photos for action photos of game stuff, and my iPhone 4, as much as I tried, and I damn sure tried, was not going to cut it. So what I needed to do was I needed to get a real camera. So went to the camera store, had about $200, decided that I was going to get the best camera I could get for the money that I had, about $250 I had to spend. And this is 2014, so I went in the store, and there was a Canon Rebel, and there was a Nikon that was about $50 more, a D750. And I was trying to be frugal at first. I went with the Canon, and biggest mistake of my life, like 10 out of 10, never recommend. I'm kidding. Canon actually makes great cameras. I just didn't know what the hell I was doing, if I'm being honest. I can be honest here with you guys, right? I mean, it's just us, right? And, you know, the internet. Anyway, so I get the camera, the Nikon, and you know, after a week, I go back and get the camera, and it just looks like what a professional photographer shoots with. It just looked a little bit more professional than the Canon. And I didn't know how to shoot on a professional camera at all. And so a DSLR. So I ended up getting that camera. And for the next 8 years, I shot, pretty much the next 8 years, I shot Nikon cameras. Didn't have the greatest gear in the world, didn't have a lot of money to invest really. So I kind of stuck with Nikon, incrementally getting better ones until I got to the point where I knew I had some funds that I could play around with. And I became interested in mirrorless, which is the future. And Sony makes great mirrorless cameras, I heard. And so I got a chance to spend some money and get a used A7 III, which is what this is. This is one of the more popular Sony cameras, the A7 III. It came out, I think, maybe 2016. Great beginner camera to learn how to use mirrorless. And so I bought it off of the Facebook Marketplace for like, you know, $1,400, the camera and the lens. And I really loved it. I love the mirrorless. I love the 10 frames per second, which, you know, me, I shoot sports mostly. So those 10 frames per second aren't by any stretch of the imagination the top end for shooting sports, but coming from where I was coming from, where 6 frames per second was big, like the frames per second 10 was huge. So I'm loving the camera. I have it for almost a month. I have it probably for about 3 weeks, and I'm still shooting with my Nikon with the big boy lens for the long shots. And then I decided, you know what, I really want to find another lens for this camera. I only have one that's really wide, and getting ready for the CIAA basketball tournament, which is a big part of the year for me, and a couple other basketball tournaments. And so I gather up a lot of my Nikon stuff and shine it up and polish it real nice, trying to make it look good, trying to get every cent that I can to get a new lens. And so I get in my car. I'm driving about 5 minutes down the road. I get on the highway, and I hear something on the back of my car. And I look back, and something black is flying in the air. Yeah, it was my A7 III that I just bought. Went back to go get it. It was It was shattered in pieces. Well, not shattered. The body was still there, intact, but the LCD screen had broken off. And of course, these are mirrorless cameras, EVF. So, that's um, non-negotiable not to have it. And then also, my lens had kind of broken off. I mean, if you saw the reel or the short, you saw what it looked like. Um, so yeah, at that point I was down that camera and I had a decision to make. I had my Nikon D750 and I knew I liked the Sony and I knew I was ready. I really wanted to go into Sony. I didn't want to spend any more money in Nikon in my DSLR camera. I wanted to invest in the future or present now, which is mirrorless cameras. And I knew that Nikon just kind of wasn't there yet, at least for where I was. Their high end was okay. But I decided that I would just go full speed Sony. So I've been doing it for a year since then. I bought a brand new A7 III. I shot with that exclusively for until November, so all the football season. I did, again, continuing to make investments. I did make the big boy purchase. Initially, I got the Tamron 70-180, which is a great lens, but shooting football, I needed a little bit more length, and so I ended up getting the big boy here. This is the G Master 70-200, but this is the older version. So great lens. The new one is a lot lighter, which would be amazing, but there's a $500 difference. And even though I hear that the new lens is great, I just wasn't ready to spend that money again after I've already spent this type of money. So incrementally making investments, but I took the plunge there. And then we get to November, which is basketball season. Again, I shot with that for football with that, and that's great because football, you're so far away. But basketball, you're a lot closer. So I had that one great combo, and I knew I needed another body, to be honest with you. I've got to the point where I'm serious enough with it that I wanted to have two bodies for football and basketball. So in November, I took the plunge and picked up the A7 IV, which came out back in, I'm not sure if it's going to get it in focus or not, came out in 2022, slightly bigger megapixel count, which was great because sometimes I have to crop quite a bit. It's a little overkill sometimes, or it can get to be a lot when I'm doing bursts. Luckily, it only does 10 frames per second because otherwise I'd be doing 30 frames per second and like filling up my entire computer. So I got that lens. I was shooting with the 70-180 as a backup. Well, I really wasn't even shooting with it. I just had it at that point. And I knew I needed something closer, something that was wider for, I gotta get that cleaned off. I wanted something a little bit wider, so I ended up, my business partner, Wally, who was an amazing cinematographer, he put me onto this lens right here, which is the Tamron, hopefully you guys can see it, which is the Tamron 28-75, which is a great lens for basketball because it's nice and wide, and plus it can get tight as well. So that's what I'm currently using right now into basketball season. We are getting into tournament time, so I'm going to be using these cameras a lot over the next couple of weeks, and it's just great to have two bodies, and it's just great to have two really good f2.8 zooms as a photographer. And these are things that I needed. Maybe not necessarily, I could probably get away with not having them, but I just felt like there's shots that I was missing, and I wanted to take myself up to the next level. And I think that's my thing for people who are watching this, and maybe you're not a camera person, right? Maybe you're not a photographer or a videographer or anything like that, but whatever you're doing, whatever you feel like it is your gift in the world and your craft, you're gonna have to. There comes a point where first you may get into it just for the love of it, or you may get into it and just not really have the resources or be willing to put up for it the resources to go through and really get the best that you can. But as you continue to climb, you're going to end up hitting a plateau to where what you had before and what fits you before no longer fits you anymore. And I think comes a point in time where you have to decide if this is something that you really feel like is your gift or your calling or whatever it is you really want to do. And sometimes you got to take that step up, when you can. Don't put yourself in debt or anything, but to take that step up to the next level. Invest in yourself and invest in your craft, and things will pay off. So, since I've had the two bodies, I've learned to shoot with them. I'm really excited about some of the results that I've gotten. I'm planning on doing. I did create a zine for myself. I'm going to be putting it out for sale soon for football, for the Celebration Bowl. I'm planning on doing some longer form work from my work in the fall with football, including the band. So be on the lookout for that. And then I'll probably do something for basketball as well, looking to recoup some of the investments that I made in myself. But, if I had to do it all the way over again, I would. And so, switching to Sony, switching camera formats, whatever works for you, whether you want to switch to whatever, whether you want to keep what you have, you just want to invest and do more, and you're sitting on the fence about it, sometimes, we can sit on the fence a while, and then we have to get some divine intervention to push us to really go all in and go to the next level. Hopefully you guys won't have to see your purchases flying on the back of your car like I did before you get to there. So, again, for everybody who has a craft or has a passion or has a dream, it's very important that you're continuing to challenge yourself, continuing to invest in yourself and invest into your gift, because you never know, what are some of the great things that can happen when you do. So try to keep this short, and hopefully I kept some folks' attention. If I did keep your attention, I really appreciate you. Please put a comment and talk about maybe an investment you like to make in your business or your craft or your gift or what it is you want to do. So let me know what that is, and whatever it is, I support you in it. I appreciate you guys for supporting me in it. And man, 2023 is here. Let's just make the best of it. Do what we can and really make it an excellent year. Figure out how we can level up. So, all right. I've gone a little longer than I wanted to. Appreciate everybody for checking out the video. Peace.